I've seen a lot of editors get tripped up with this particular feature of After Effects, and it is essentially this. How do you control all of these windows and palettes and Adobe has another name for these, but I can't remember what it is. Views. How do you control the view? Now, I've mentioned before that this is my sort of default layout when I'm working on one monitor. I leave my window, my info and preview up here. I put the effects here. Sometimes I'll make this little guy a little shorter. But I keep these here, character and paragraph. I have my render queue and timelines down here, and my canvas is up here. One thing that I do that's a little different is I separate the effects from the project. A lot of people keep this up here. Now, so this is the way I leave it. You can do it any way you want, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. See up here, I actually have a custom workspace, which is my Fence 16 by 9 demo. What does that mean? I'm going to show you in a second. And then there's these other presets. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, a basic animation view. And this is what sort of After Effects defaults as. And you can see it's different. So I have my motion sketch, which I never use, Wiggler, which I barely ever use, Smoother, Preview down here, up here, but it doesn't show all the controls. So it's kind of a wreck. And you can certainly go through these and pick one that works good for you. Here's the effects tab, but where is my project window? So, it can be very confusing. And then the other thing that happens is people will accidentally drag something and drop it, and they'll go, what a wreck. Or they'll close something, maybe they'll just go like this, and it's just a disaster. And I've seen people do this. I'm like, why are you working like that way? Well, the windows just got messed up. So what I want to do, this is a good one, all panels with all these little palettes down here. At any rate, what I want to do is I want to show you some intricacies about the way this works so that you can, so that you don't get stuck with some weird thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to point out that I use this, the setup that I use is called 16 by 9. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide After Effects for a second here, and I'm just going to give away a little secret of mine that I use when I am creating tutorials. Now, I work on a 15-inch MacBook Pro. It's the new Retina display, and it's actually a 16 by 9, but I want a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, but I want my tutorials to be 16 by 9. So what I've done is in my desktop, I've created this little hairline down here, and I know that everything that I want to do above there so that it actually is 16 by 9. Now, it doesn't allow me to show the dock, but I don't care. I never use the dock. So that's point number one. And now what I want to do, so we're going to go to one of our, here, we'll use the standard setup, okay? And then we'll reset standard. Do I want to reset to the original layout? Yes, I do. Okay, now, so what I want to do is I want to have my effects tab to be underneath the project window. Now, not the effects and presets, but the actual effects that are put on a particular layer. And that's another window down here, and that's called my effects control. Now, currently it is not on because it doesn't have a checkbox. So I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to force it over here. Now, I like to always be able to see this, and that's why I don't like tabbing between these. So what I want to do is I want this to be underneath here, and I want it to run down to the bottom of the screen. So here's a little trick. I take this little guy here, and you see these little trapezoids, boom, 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 boom. I want to put it right here, and what that means is it's going to split this space. Now this is something that is adjustable. It'll split that space between those two things. But see, I want it to go all the way to the bottom. And the problem with this is that this window, my timeline window, is actually, well, it's going full width. And I understand why sometimes that's good. I don't want that. So what I want to do is I want to take this guy and split the space with this window. So if I take this guy, pull it like this, put it there, there we go. That's essentially the main thing that I want. So I want my project and effects controls here. I want my timeline and my canvas here. Now there's a few things I'm missing. I like to keep the render queue open. So let's go to Windows, Render Queue. Let's see where it puts that. Okay, it sort of went to its default position. So I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to put it in the lower half of this piece. Okay, now I actually made a whole nother window here. You see how this can get really confusing? So I'm going to put this guy there. There we go. No, actually, no, I don't want that. What I want is this guy to be a tab there. There we go. Now pull this up. Pull this up. Okay, now we're getting to where we want. Now this is bigger than I want. So what I really want to do is I want to put the character and the paragraph down below it. So I'm going to go back up to Window, and let's open up Character. So where did it put? So it put Character as a tab there. So I'm going to grab this little guy, and I'm going to put it in the lower half of that window. See what I've done there? Now I can pull this guy up. And again, this is just the way I like to work. You need to figure out the way you like to work, but it's good to understand how these windows associate with each other. And then in the character tab, I'm going to also put on the paragraph. Oh, now see where it did? It wanted to put it down there. So I'm going to grab this, and if I put it right next to the word character, it will make a new tab. And then it just makes sense to me. The characters before paragraphs, I'm going to slide that over there. Let's bring this guy back up. Bring this guy back up. And there we go. That's the way I like to work. So I think it's important to understand how these tabs and this sort of putting one window or tab inside of another or next to another. And then, of course, if you want to split things in horizontally, like I might want to bring this effects and put it right next to my composition. So if I were to do that, I would go like this and put it right there. See how that trapezoid is? And now I've put it right next to it. But in fact, I like it down here. And once I get it set the way I want it, I'm going to come up here and I can now save a new workspace. Give it a custom name. And that's how I actually have my FEN 1609 or 16:9 demo. All right, that's a little bit about how to organize your tabs and windows and stuff in After Effects. Later.